to bless us with wisdom, love, and guidance.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. So aware are we of those who join us now. We say this so often to you, but again, there are so many who come in and never have heard it, and think perhaps that a message like this is just thrown out so that sometime someone will hear it. Like some speech that is famous, given long ago for a certain number of people. And it is not that way. Indeed, this broadcast happens at a certain time, a certain week, a certain year. But indeed, those, even in the future, will come across this when they're supposed to and hear it. Even though this particular message is one of four and the third of four, it still may ring true and be succinct for someone who needs to hear it. But what I really want to tell you is this. On the other side of the veil, dear ones, for you, there is this beautiful co-creative source. You're discovering this as a new truth. A piece of that creation you are. And that means that the creative source, which you call God, the beauty, benevolence, kindness, and love, is imbued in you, for you've heard that made in his image expression. Made in the image of the creative source means that it's in you. The image is love. It's not the image of a physicalness. It's love. And that means that you are part of all that exists in a way that perhaps you're not aware. And so my message to you right now is this. We know you. We know you. If you stumbled on this message years from when it was given, or you're listening perhaps just to the sound and you're not even seeing the picture, it doesn't matter. We know you. We know your ears or your eyes are upon this. And through free choice, you can make up your mind with something. Is it truth or is it not? So many times you come across these kinds of messages, and this one in particular, that you need to hear. The series this month has dealt with what we call increased awareness, the new frontier of humanism. A new frontier because consciousness, awareness, is moving in a way that you didn't expect, faster than you expected. It brings about all manner of expressions, including the new normal. Years ago, we told you about the new normal. Now this expression is even being used by mainstream media. You'll probably find it in some movies. There may even be a movie title someday called The New Normal. It will probably be a comedy. Things are changing this quickly. And so this new frontier is a metaphor. And what it truly means is that it's wide open. It's never been there before. It's waiting to be discovered. That new frontier of a consciousness that has never existed before will bring about a different kind of human reaction, action, perspective, and the big one, an increased awareness of a greater truth. And we speak spiritually. The last message we gave you talked about the fact that this is not a new religion. Kryon does not have an evangelical message. There's nothing to join and no one really to contribute to. It is not a new group that we are asking you somehow to join. It has nothing to do with that paradigm, which is so linear that you are used to, stepping from one belief system perhaps to another. Instead, it's like a door starts to open, and in floods a light and colors you've never seen, beauty that you never expected, and you have the opportunity to look or not look. Truly, many have seen this door open and slammed it shut because it was frightening. Slammed it shut because it wasn't what they were taught should be behind that door. A metaphor, dear ones. A metaphor for those who have an opportunity to look, but they've decided not to. This is not something that we judge as an issue or a problem. It's free choice. Every single one of you has that choice not to look. And you're every bit as loved. At the end of this message, there'll be no invitation to join. We don't do that. This is loving information for those who want to hear it. For those who don't, it's fine not to. That is the essence of the love of free choice. You send your children out into the world. You hope they find something that they love to do, or partners they will love to find, and you wish them the best. But very few parents will put upon them, you must do this, you must do that, or else. You give free choice to your children because you understand how different they are. What might work in one of their lives will not work in another. It is similar to this. And the love, it's there no matter what they do. You know that. We've spoken over and over about this one subject that is an increased awareness and what it means. The first channel of this month was simply an opening that says, well, it's there, take a look, what's going on the planet. The second one, and the second week, was just a little different, an explanation of just how different this is. We used the expression of going from black and white to color. This planet is going from black and white to color. It is a metaphor. But in that metaphor, can you see? Only so many shades of black and white. And there were the layers. These are the layers of the reality that you exist in right now. And when you go into color, you can see millions of shades, sometimes billions of shades of color. And so that means that your reality expands incredibly past what you have or what you expect into that which is the unknown. Part of the circle of 12, which is coming yet today, is moving into the known and the unknown in ways that some of you have already done and some of you have not. And so it is done simply and it is done gently and safely so that none of you will feel that you are being pulled into something. Free choice, dear ones, love, benevolence. That's the image that I wish to give you today. Even as I give you this message, there is a grandness of discovery spiritually that perhaps you have never been shown and never been told about. I want to continue that theme. This particular attribute of this particular channel of number 3 of 4 regarding this new frontier of awareness, we're going to say, getting used to it. Because of what happens often next. When you move into that which is different from the others, often there are reactions. Many times the reactions are sorrowful. They don't make sense even. And we've spoken of them before. Especially those things which are so important to your life, the way you live, how you perceive, your very values of what you've been told. When you alter those from what you've been told or those around you expect you would have, when you alter those, Even if you go to something grander and something bigger, even if your life changes and you heal yourself and you become someone different, more kind and less anxiety and fearful, even if you change dramatically in the area of benevolence, even if you're easier to get along with, you'll have friends who will turn their back. You'll have family that'll turn their back because you've stepped out of what they believe is real. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So getting used to it, that is to say, if you have seen that, which is the difference between color and black and white, and you have stepped into that and you've discovered something and you now know it is absolutely real. Real. Expect those around you may not. In the case of my partner, he had fear. He had fear when he saw a light that never went out, that was filled with kindness, benevolence, love, understanding. Something he had never felt before in any religion. Something that was filled with so much non-judgment that he understood he was part of a larger whole. And he had broken through, and it took him years to go there. And when he did, he was still afraid. And his fear was this, that the people he grew up with, or his family members, or all of those that loved him, that worked with him, would turn their back on him and say, "We think you've gone crazy. We don't appreciate what you're doing, and we can't be with you." That's what his fear was. Dear ones, every single one of those attributes came true. How do you deal with this? And the answer is gently, with love and understanding, because every single one of those individuals was replaced with other individuals who loved him in a different way, an accepting way, even some individuals who didn't necessarily believe what he did, but loved him anyway. Wouldn't you expect that of your family member, to love you anyway? That's quite often not the case at all. You've simply gone beyond the bounds. How does one get used to this? The answer is this: you never get used to being discarded. But you have the wisdom to step into the understanding of it all. You may go back for the holiday and be shunned or made fun of, laughed at, and all of those things. What's your reaction? Do you get used to it? No. But you can love them in a way that is beyond the way they could love you. And it shows them something, that no matter how far they push the envelope of ridicule or not understanding, you may even see their dysfunction in it or their anger in it. No matter what they show you, what you show them back is a grander truth of something you've learned. Humans have trouble and difficulty moving off the peg of what they've been told. Some of you don't want to go anywhere near a new truth because you think it's a betrayal of what you've been told by people you love and who love you. And I will tell you this, that no matter what you've been told about God, they have done the best they can in what they believe is a beautiful, loving God. But they haven't seen it all. They haven't seen perhaps what you've seen. They haven't seen when that door opens that there's so much there that is bigger than anything they've been told or any doctrine that they've ever known, as good as it is, as beautiful as it is. But they hang on to what they know because they cannot even fathom that there could be more. And so they wave goodbye to you, sometimes not in a graceful way. And you will see perhaps that which doesn't appear to be love anymore. The most difficult thing for a human to have. You might even think a betrayal, because you see them not even willing to love you, even though you found something that's so loving, even though you show them love back. No, you won't be used to it, but dear ones, you will receive the wisdom of love in order to deal with this. This is not new in humanism. Even science has reflected it. When it comes along with something that is true and grander, but never yet discovered, there will be ridicule and there will be finger pointing and all of this, and colleagues will walk the other way, and then they find out the truth. Oh, they were right. Then everyone knows and everyone believes. Something like that is coming. They won't be able to ignore the light someday. And many of them may actually in your lifetime look at you and say, you know, you might have something. As odd as it sounded back then, it doesn't sound quite as odd today. And you can just smile and know that the love that you've given to those who've rejected you is starting to work. That is the grease of truth. The wheels that you grease are the wheels that will create understanding even for those who rejected you someday. It's possible, and not perhaps even possible, but it may even be happening right now. There is more acceptance than there ever has been before of some of the oddest and strangest ideas, even of channeling. We'll be back. And so it is.
And I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose and softly exhaling. If you've had your eyes closed, you may wish to open your eyes and take a moment to bring your awareness back into your body, back into the room, back into this present moment. And Lee and I are really delighted and excited to be having such a wise wisdom woman joining us for this next part of the program. Her name is Susan Weed. And Susan, are you there?
I'm right here. Wow, I'm so happy to be with you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, we are so delighted. And if you don't know anything about Susan Weed, you are in for a treat, an absolute treat.
I'll say that Susan is not just, an accomplished person in herbology and all of this. Wait till you hear the bio. She's a pioneer. I mean, just truly.
Yes.
She's received the 20th Century Award in Achievement, is included in Who's Who of Intellectuals, was recognized as Outstanding Person of 20th Century, and was nominated as International Women of the Year. Now, we could just stop there and say, and some
wow,
people,
right?
And, what else can you say? There is more. Her books and appearances have helped millions of women, I'm not exaggerating, millions of women attain better health and become more powerful in themselves.
Now, her areas of focus are folkloric herbalism, eco-herbalism, ethnobotany, philosophy and psychology of healing, comparative religion, women's health and spirituality, and here's the big one, pharmacognosy. Now, pharmacognosy, if you've never heard of that, it's the mother of pharmacy. And maybe I've even mispronounced it. I don't know. But what it means, I probably have, but, I'm an Australian, so I'm going to go with that. And what it means is the extraction of healing substances from natural resources. Susan is especially interested in the altered states of consciousness as they pertain to learning, healing, birthing and dying, and the role that the plants play in these states.
The role of plants that
I just
they play
find
in
that
those states.
Fascinating.
Susan has 6 books in print. She writes a regular column in Sage Woman and has a popular regular call-in show on Blog Talk Radio. She sits on many advisory boards or organizations known for menopausal studies and, of course, herbalism. She's been on numerous radio and TV shows, including, and many of you will know these, Fresh Air Radio, National Public Radio, NBC News, Prescription for Health, Ask the Family Doctor, Wisdom Channel, like that one, and America's Talking. She's also a featured teacher and trainer in many countries worldwide. Now, many countries, you'd have to see the bio to see how many countries. We're not going to list them. And the reason is because it would be here for the rest of the day.
Now, Susan is a peace elder, an initiated member of the Wolf Clan and the Sisterhood of the Shields. She is the founder of Wise Woman Centre and Ash Tree Publishing, and she is the voice of the Wise Woman tradition.
And all of these things, you say, where do we start? So I'm going to start with one that you don't expect me to start with. Susan made the news when she got very upset, seemingly, with somebody who was not storing the lettuce correctly. Okay, I'll turn it to you, Susan. Would you start with that one?
What happened was...
Oh, tell me.
Each one of my apprentices must bring her own plate, bowl, cup, fork, knife, spoon, and napkin. That's her kit. Just like at the Zen monastery that I was. You have your own kit. And you wash it and you take care of it. So I walk in this particular Tuesday and I look for my kit. And this fairly new apprentice is sitting there eating with my silverware and my plate. So I walk up to her and I say, you know that's my silverware and my plate. And you need to be using yours. And I actually upended the food into her lap and took my plate and washed it and ate. Because she's my apprentice. She's not a student. I wouldn't act that way with a student. A student is just here to learn what they can learn within their own life, in their own structures. An apprentice is here to have everything challenged.
Mm-hmm. Fully understand. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
I have a burning question. When did you start talking to plants? How did this work?
Well, let's start here. When I was about 18 months old, my pediatrician said to my mom, your daughter's different. And we'd like to test her. Can we have her for a day? So they agreed on the day, and they took me to the University of Ohio and tested me for a day, and then returned me to my parents and said, yes, your daughter's brain functions differently from other babies' brains. Mm-hmm. And the best thing you can do for her is to not thwart her. Give her whatever she wants. What wonderful advice to give to the parents of an autistic child. Mm-hmm. So it is true that as an autistic person, I do have problems with relationships. But that's because as an autistic person, we don't lie and we don't understand that all the rest of you lie all the time. I'm sure you run into that, Lee, because you are probably also in a situation where you understand the truth.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's one of the things that many apprentices say when they leave. They say, oh my gosh, I really had no idea until I returned home how much lying was going on all around me all the time. Mm-hmm. Because to live, even for 6 weeks, in only the truth changes you forever.
I love the way that you don't make any apologies for living your truth and cutting to the core of helping your apprentice or whoever it is to get to that truth. And in that realm, because you are so connected to the multidimensional energies that are out there, that's why you commune with the plants and the fairies. I am in love with our planet, with Gaia, with the precious things that are there, and I would love to hear you share with us more of your in-depth knowledge of fairies and the devas.
Yeah.
Let me first just say, because it's important to me, that I'm not talking about my truth. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as the truth is personalized, it's no longer true. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the truth. And there is a the truth, and it's not personal. And you know it, and I know it. And no one should ever apologize for the truth. And the truth is that we truly are all one. Of course, you love and enjoy this planet. It's you. As Joanna Macy has said to us recently, why don't you act your age? You're made of the planet, and the planet's billions of years old. So what is a fairy? Throughout the world, people have envisioned spirits in nature. And what can we say about nature? It's chaos. It follows certain patterns, but within those patterns, there's chaos. This was perhaps the most important teaching that I received from my mentor, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who gave me many important teachings. But the primary one was in answer to my whining to her one day. Why don't people just
Wow, Susan, I can see that the fairies are with you now, because they're having fun with your camera and it's just going everywhere.
I think, look, just enjoy the chaos of the fairies.
Absolutely.
Let's keep going.
It's more, folks, it's a lot more important what she's saying. So just you shut your eyes if you don't want the dancing camera. But wow, that is amazing.
Well, let's start here. Why don't people just accept that bad things happen? They're always trying to blame themselves for bad things happening. And I don't understand that, Elizabeth. And she said, but Susan, if they're guilty, then in the future they can avoid any bad things happening. And I said, that's not true. She said, no, because life is truly chaos. And you're not going to figure it out, and you're not going to avoid bad things happening by figuring it out. So we see that chaos in nature, and we personalize it as the fairies. Now, Walt Disney got hold of the fairies and turned them cute, right? So most people nowadays, when you say fairy, think Tinkerbell. But when I was in Ireland, when I was teaching in Ireland, I very naively said to someone who asked me, why are you in Ireland? I said, I want to get in touch with the fairies. And they took a big, big step back. And I thought, I've said something that is disturbing to them. So I went to a bookstore and I bought some books on Irish fairies. They're mean, they're vicious, and they will help you heal, but you have to capture them and keep them in a vessel in order to get that healing power. And if they ever get out, it's utter chaos. So I understood why they didn't want to be hanging around somebody who's going to get in trouble with the fairies. And I looked at them like I was likely to get in touch with the fairies. Dorothy McLean at Findhorn spent time communing with nature. And she said that to her, the fairies were like the individual spirits of the plants, but the devas were the larger spirits of the plants. Let me give you an example of this. I was sitting by my woodpile one beautiful autumn day, and you know how the light comes slanting in. And it's so warm, it's so golden and honeyed. And then I'm sitting there with my back up against all of this cut and split firewood, and I close my eyes, and there's bluebirds and rainbows and unicorns and sparkles and Walt Disney. And then the sun moves, as it does very quickly at that time of the year. So I moved because I wanted to sit in it, and I wasn't sitting up against the wood anymore, and I closed my eyes. No more sparkles, rainbows, hearts. I thought, oh, how odd. So I sat with my back against the firewood again, even though it was in the shade, and closed my eyes, and wow, I got all that imagery. And so in my mind, I said, is this have anything to do with this firewood? And the firewood said, yeah. I said, well, I would think you'd be like kind of, I don't know, upset at me because I like cut you down and then cut you in pieces and chopped you up. And here I'm now going to burn you. And the oak says, we keep forgetting